Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. Hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to start today by saying thank you to everyone who subscribed. I've gotten over 100 subscribers, which doesn't seem like a lot, but for me it was a milestone I never thought I'd actually achieve, so I'm super excited. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for your comments, and thank you for everyone who's picked up books because of what I've talked about and told me about it. I really appreciate it. Today's topic is going to be mainly a little bit of a book hodgepodge. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm reading and why I'm reading it. I'm going to give you an idea of what I'm preparing to read in the near future. And kind of that. I hope that it interests you guys. I will tell you right now, I'm home alone, so I have my whole entire pet menagerie in this room with me. So there could be a cat, there could be one of 3 dogs, I could be interrupted. So I hope you guys are ready for that if it should happen. What am I reading right now? So I know you guys are well aware that the Bailey shortlist, actually the long list, came out as we all prepare for the Bailey shortlist. I am trying to read as many of those books as possible. I've currently read 2 of the 16 and I have 11 of them, I think, on my shelves. The 2 that I've read are the Essex Serpent, which I've already raved about in my first video. I will link that below so you can you can hear what I have to say about it. I love this book. It's my favorite book I've read this year so far, and I really hope that it makes it onto the Bailey's shortlist. It is also on the Walter Scott Prize long list for historical fiction. I'm also hoping it makes it onto that shortlist as well. So that's the Essex Serpent, which I've already talked a ton about, so I won't talk about it too much more. I've also just finished the Gustav Sonata by Rose Tremaine. This is my first Rose Tremaine novel. I've never read anything by her before. All I will say is I loved it, and I think you guys should read it. I'm going to talk about it more in my March wrap-up, so I don't want to give you guys a bunch of information about it now. But Simon of Savage Reads, Eric of the Lonesome Reader, and a lot of people have really loved this book, and it is also on both of those long lists that I just talked about. So clearly a lot of people really enjoyed it, and I did too. So that's the Gustav Sonata. What am I reading right now? I'm actually in the process of reading this behemoth. This is Barkskins by Annie Proulx. Now, I have read The Shipping News by Annie Proulx. This was her book that came out years ago. It won the Pulitzer. I don't remember much about it. I remember enjoying it. I think the main character's name is Quigley. She also wrote the short story that the movie Brokeback Mountain is based upon. I'm sure a lot of people know that as well. I haven't read any of her in years, and this book came out, and it's now on the long list for the Bailey's Prize. And look at it, it's ginormous. It's almost 800 pages long. I've kind of been taking a break in the middle. I read the Gustav Sonata in the center because I need an easier book to take back and forth. What is Barkskins about? That's actually a hard question because it is a saga. It starts with 2 men who come from France to New France, what we would know better as Canada, to kind of start their lives over. They come and they are going to be kind of indentured to a man who owns land in New France for 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, they will get their own land to deal with. Now, one of them sticks, I got a horrible glare there, I'm sorry. One of them sticks with the guy and works the land and clears trees and stays there. The other guy, very soon after arriving in New France, decides that he doesn't like the guy he's working for and disappears and takes a different path. He winds up kind of becoming his own sort of entrepreneur, and you follow both of their families through time. So you follow one household and the other. I really enjoy it. She has a magnificent way of describing nature. She's just a really good writer. She has very vivid language. I am struggling a little bit. She throws a lot of like little French phrases in it. I don't speak enough French for it to flow smoothly for me. But I'm learning also a lot about the native Indian populations of the region and how they influenced New France and Canada. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, my only problem really is this thing is heavy. To carry around. But that's Barkskins by Annie Proulx, and I'm really, really liking it, and that's currently what I'm reading. I will continue to try to get through as much of the long list as possible before the short list comes out, and that's what I'm going to continue doing. But I'm also preparing to read for something else. And that is the Booktopia event I'm going to. For those of you that don't know, Booktopia is an event that is put on currently by Northshire Bookstore in Vermont, in Manchester, Vermont. It was originally started by Anne and Michael of Books on the Nightstand fame. It was actually where I first met so many of my book friends that I couldn't imagine my life without now. They did one here in California in Santa Cruz, which is about a 30-minute drive. It was 5 or 6 years ago now. I saw it online. I paid the money. I invited my friend Ryan to go along. And we went down and we met amazing people. We met amazing authors. Matthew Dix was there. I don't know if you guys know him from... I can't remember. I'm totally blanking on the name of his Imaginary Friend book. I can't remember the full title, but he's written a couple books that I've really liked. I actually got to meet Adam Johnson there. Adam Johnson wrote The Orphan Master's Son, which I talked about in my last book haul. Got him to sign my first edition of his book, and I really that was exciting. I met T.R.E. Jones there. I met Tupelo Hausman. I could go on and on. But that was my first Booktopia event. I since then went to 4 more. I went to one in Boulder, one in Vermont, one in Petoskey, and one more that is slipping my mind. And I'm going back for this year. So this event happens at the beginning of May, actually right around my 40th birthday. So I'm treating myself to Booktopia. What Booktopia is the bookstore puts on 9 authors come to visit. They all have books that are recently out. You get to meet with them. They have events where you can sit and talk to them about their books. There's an event where they speak to the general public. And all my bookish friends, well, a lot of my bookish friends, not all. There are a few that I wish that could make it that aren't going to be able to make it, which makes me kind of sad. But I am going to get to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while, that I keep up with online, or they're in my virtual book club. So I'm really excited about that. The 9 authors, I've actually read 2 of the books already. One of them I don't need to say much about. That is Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk. I talked about this in my first video. It is one of my favorite books that I have read this year. I love this book. I was really sad because the author Kathleen Rooney is not coming to California for anything, and I thought I wouldn't be able to get to see her, but now she's going to be at Booktopia, so I'm super excited that I'm going to be able to see her and talk to her about her book, so I won't say much about that one. The other one I've already read on the list is Books for the Living by Will Schwalbe. I'm sorry, Will. I know I say your last name wrong. I read Will's first book, I know a lot of people did, called The End of Your Life Book Club. That was a book about the books he read with his mother when she was being treated for and dying of pancreatic cancer. It tugs your heartstrings, but it also is about the power of books, how it brings people together, gets you through tough situations. I really love that one. This one is about the books that have affected Will as an adult and a child. He talks about them. He gives advice based upon them. I really enjoyed this one. I think the first one is always going to hold a special place into my heart because it did make me cry a bit. This one does not make me cry. But I really liked it. I can't wait to meet him in person. I followed him ever since he actually was a Booktopia author for his first book, and I wasn't able to make that Booktopia. So I'm really excited to actually get to meet him. I own one other of the Booktopia books, and then I have a bunch of them still coming. So I thought I would tell you about the one that I purchased. It actually just came out. It's called Edgar and Lucy by Victor Lodato. And right here on the front you can see that it says, I love this book, Lena Dunham. So to me that's a sounding recommendation. I love Lena Dunham, and she cracks me up, so I'm very excited about that. I don't know much about this book, so I'm actually just going to read you the inner flap and give you an idea of the little blurb. 8-year-old Edgar Finney has survived a terrible accident, of which he remembers nothing. He knows only that his father is gone, his mother has a limp, and his grandmother believes in ghosts. When Edgar meets a man with his own tragic story, the boy begins a journey into a secret wilderness where nothing is clear, not even the line between the living and the dead. In order to save her son, Lucy has no choice but to confront her past. And as dark crimes come to light, this family drama tightens into a high-stakes tale of suspense. So I think that sounds really good. I'm actually really excited. But again, it's another chunkster, stealing a Simon phrase. So that's probably going to take me a little bit to read. But there's some really good recommendations here on the back. Tom Perrotta, who I really loved. Tom Perrotta's book, The Leftovers, was really good. He's written actually a couple good ones. And Helen Simonson, who wrote Major Pettigrew's Last Stand, which I really liked, is also recommending this. And since it's white, my bright light is totally making it. But it's a beautiful cover. It's raised. I'm excited about that one. The last bookish thing going on in my life right now is the audiobook I am listening to. I am going to try to put a picture up here of it, learning as I go along. But it is Hillbilly Elegy by, I want to say his name is Billy Lynn. It is nonfiction. It is my audiobook. I listen to audiobooks when I'm at the gym and to and from work. So this is the one that's getting me through right now. It's about a man who is from Kentucky in the Appalachian Mountains. He and his family migrate to Ohio, where he grows up with his grandparents. He actually gets out of this area and winds up graduating from Yale Law School, and he has gone back to Ohio, and it's kind of a love letter to the people that he would call his people. It's also really well researched. It talks a lot about the people of Appalachia, the socioeconomic piece of that area. It also talks about addiction. His mom is an addict, and so he is raised by his grandmother. So it's very interesting. He reads it himself, so I always like when authors read their own nonfiction. I feel like they're telling me a story that they're passionate about. So I'm really excited to finish that. I'm a couple hours in and really liking it. So far, that's Hillbilly Elegy. And I will, again, try to put a picture up here so that you guys can see it, and I'll link it below. So I think that's all I've got for this video. I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and I hope you'll pick up some of these books. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about any of them, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.